What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now, for around 24 hours after the live stream is over, there is still the opportunity to join the Discord server, so there will also be a link in the info box below this video. Now, while I set up for the first and only live show of this Monday, I'll pass over to the debating panel on the Google Plus Hangouts on air, so you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever is in there while I set up for the first live show.
Started doing that and they agreed to do it, they would then stop.
What? And if you could just let me know what the heck's in it. Tell me what's in it. I want a list of, all the food that I buy, it's got a list of all the ingredients. Why does the vaccine not have that?
Yeah.
Because I don't even think they know what the fuck's in there. I do know there's arsenic in there. You know, it's not good.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I thought that video was pretty cool, eh? I've never heard of that channel.
Which one? Planner Walk?
Yeah, the one that you just went and watched. It's only just being put up.
You don't mean Planner Walk, you mean the guy that presented the video?
Yeah, the guy that made the video, yeah. I just subscribed. I've not seen his channel before. But Planner Walk, I'm here pretty intermittently, as you guys know, so I kind of miss a lot of it.
Yeah, Planner Walk's he's a dumb bastard.
Is he?
He thinks he knows what science is, and then when he explains what he thinks an independent variable is, I just feel like fucking shooting him.
Do you know who I get really pissed off with is the Rumpus? Like he's in Jose's Skype chat. I'm just in there because I like to hear both sides. And I was talking to him about making a documentary. I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I was talking to you, and I was going to start talking to Nathan about it. And he just kept I kept saying, "Oh, would you be interested in presenting some of your side?" He's like, yeah. So and he just kept going around the question, saying, "Oh, so what do you want me to do?"
Got an incoming call. 1 sec.
Yeah.
He wasn't keen then.
He just kept fucking me around, eh? He was like, yeah, okay, so what, you want me to stand sideways and do this? And then it finally got to the end. I'm like, yeah, so it's a video. He's like, oh, you never said it was a video. I just wanted to do audio. I'm like, no, I wanted you to do a video. That's why you were saying where you want me to sit. And it was like he was just purposely trying to piss me off. I ended up just giving him the biggest barrage of abuse.
I think that's the idea.
He was just purposely, blatantly, just really trying to piss me off and waste my time for half an hour. I was so angry, eh? Yeah, the guy thinks he knows everything.
I think that, like I say, is the objective.
He just
piss you off.
Yeah, and I think he just likes to talk all over people. And he's got a bit of a power trip complex going on. Yeah, I'm on After Effects at the moment because Redhead wants me to try and build something for him. He wants me to make a globe with some writing spinning around the globe, and then the globe blows up, and then out pops the flat disc.
Doesn't want much.
Yeah. It's like, oh, it should be easy. I'm like, it's pretty fucking hard.
Yeah, it sounds easy.
let me just ask you, how did you fix your squeaky chair?
I didn't. I just changed the mic. It just seems not to pick it up there.
All right. I was hoping you were going to say that you
WD-40. Is that what
yeah,
you're going to say?
put a bit of seal, a bit of lube on the spring.
Yeah. No, I didn't. It was just the mic. It's actually squeaking right now. I thought you were actually going to say that you could hear it. It's just a really comfy chair. I'll cry if I have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
A bloody cat clawed it though the other day. God.
Do you both share the show?
I'll
Sorry?
do it now.
Oh.
It hasn't started yet, though, has it?
No, it hasn't. But I've got it published. Obviously, what you call an advert.
Yeah.
But just without people sharing it. I mean, I can literally sit in the chat on the second channel and say, "Has anybody shared it?" And then a few people will say yes, and then I'll watch the numbers go up. And you're like, "Well, unless they shared it, those numbers wouldn't have gone up."
Yeah, I don't see it I don't see it as an advert, Nathan.
I can share it on a few other Skype channels if you want.
Can't find it as an advert. Could be in your subscriptions feed. Doesn't show on the main page as a pending live show either. Irritating. Well.
Oh yeah, I see you now. Set reminder. So how do I share it on here then?
Press the share button.
I can just share your link that you've got in Master Beacon, Nathan.
When you say the link, do you mean the link for joining this hangout?
The hangout.
No.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the actual show. Tap. Some lovely tapping.
Wow. I was going to say, who's typing? Wow. That's...
Wow.
Hang on, you can't complain if I'm posting it to Facebook if you have a little bit of background typing.
How dare you have that background noise while sharing the show?
I was going to
share it in silence.
It was very fast. You get a job in the courts or something like that.
Yeah.
Help Daddy.
Need to get some lemon and ginger and honey in your mate, and a bit of whiskey. That will fix you.
Sort out the Discord link.
I'm still getting used to the Discord, because people seem to talk over the top of each other on there quite a lot,
Sorry, say that again.
I'm just saying, because I was away for a while, and you've got the Discord running in now, so that all runs through your thing, doesn't it, Nathan?
Yeah. A few people in there already.
Just finding. Yeah, okay. Cool.
Feel free to say hello. Hello, Discord.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
So what's the topic for tonight? We got anything we're going to discuss? Anything you're going to present, Tony?
I think I'm going to give a shameless plug for my own hangout tonight. I don't know if Nathan's going to do it with me or whether I'll do it on my own. But if you see my most recent video yesterday about the bell jar with the water in it, if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's good.
Hang on, I'll have a look.
That's a no. We're recording. This will go out to an audience, so feel free to just carry on.
Okay. Oh, so we're live now. All right, sorry.
So go on then. Plug your show. You said I'm going to plug my show. Now I got type.
Oh.
Is this one you're talking about? The Show Me the Gravity video? Is that the one?
No, that's the intro. Go to the videos and then look at the most recent one.
How can relative density not be a force after this? Is that the one?
Yeah. Basically, the ballers don't understand what the independent variable is. They've got to bastardize it. They've got to rape the meaning of independent variable at all times to explain that video. And they can't do that.
Yeah.
Science is science, and it's got definition, words of meaning. And they've got to basically infer that gravity is doing something, even though the thing that I manipulated wasn't gravity, it was something else. And in scientific method, the independent variable is the thing that you manipulate. That's the cause, not the thing that you want it to be because you need gravity to explain stuff. No, it's the thing that you manipulate. So GeoStreamer had a hangout last night and someone sent me a link saying, you've been debunked. And honest to God, it's an absolute joke. It's so fucking funny what they've done. I'm just going to sit back. I don't know whether to do it with Nathan or just do it myself and sit back and have my smug little bastard smile on my face while I listen to their drivel. Because I've already listened to it once and it's absolutely brilliant. It's a brilliant demonstration of how bigoted and ignorant these ball earthers are. And I love it.
You mean to say they've tried to do a rebuttal on this video?
Yeah.
Who did that?
Gravity. They've inferred gravity as the cause, and I'm like, no, dickhead. The thing in scientific method, the thing that is the cause is the thing that the experimenter deliberately manipulates. You can't infer extra causation. Not allowed.
I'll have to have a quick look.
Yeah, it's good. You know, I'm trying to find a desktop charger for my phone so that I can plug my phone in and it sits vertical so I can see it when it rings. Because obviously I have to have it on silent while the show's on. But if it rings and it's on silent, I can't see it. So I need to have a desktop charger, but one that works on a micro USB, and one that's got a tilt at the bottom because the one I've got is like it doesn't have a tilt option on the bottom of it, and it's because it's fixed. My phone doesn't sit in it perfect, so it needs to be variable, and I can't find one.
Can't you get just a wallet phone cover
With a built-in battery?
Oh, sorry. Okay, now I get what you're meaning. Yeah.
It's so I can charge it, but also see it whilst it's on charge rather than lay flat on my desk.
Yeah, I gotcha. Hey, what do you use to film your videos? Just your camera on your phone, or?
No, I use a combination of cameras. Either I use my P900 because it's actually quite a good camera for recording stuff like that. I either use the P900 or I use the Mrs. D500, but I don't use that anymore because it's too heavy. It's too bulky.
Yeah.
Jesus, sorry.
I do like my P900, but I reckon if there's low light, they're not that good.
No, the shit at low light.
No, it's just your quality is really good. I like good quality video. Well done.
I think the editing makes a big difference as well.
Sorry, mate. What was that?
Sorry, I'm a bit away from the mic. The editing makes a big difference as well.
Yeah. What do you edit with?
Debut Professional, NCH.
Okay.
It's middle of the road. It's not top of the range, but it's cheap enough to make it worth a worthy investment.
Yeah. I use Corel. They're quite good, but this is good too.
Yeah, it does everything I need it to do. They're all about the same, to be honest. There's not that much difference between any of them. It's just that some of them have got better features, and the way I see it is, unless you actually use them, there's no point in having better features. and the features that you get for paying, the features that you pay for, that you get when you buy expensive stuff, it's just not worth buying it, because you might use it once or twice every now and again, but you don't use it enough for it to justify the extra money.
But that's it. Like, I mean, because I obviously do stuff professionally, I've got After Effects, but some of the plugins I've got to buy for that are just ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Like one plugin I had to get the other week was like $400 just to do some graphics work is insane. But Corel is actually pretty good. Hey, they're like a direct competitor to Adobe, but they're actually really cheap and really, really good.
Nokia 5. What I need.
Was that you in the video there? You shaved your head.
No, that's not me. This is
Oh.
the beautiful thing about it. Sean Hufford thinks that I've stolen the video from somewhere. So obviously I'm going to make a big fucking song and dance over that, because that video was made for me. Because I didn't have the equipment. Somebody else had the equipment, and we were discussing whether or not we could manipulate the density of a vacuum pressure of air, a vacuum pocket of air, and then cause movement. And he had the bell housing. He made the frame, and basically when we put it all together, he just recorded it, and it was done as a collaboration. But Sean thinks I've stolen it from YouTube somewhere. So he spent the whole hangout trying to find the original video so that he could claim that I stole it, because I didn't link it in the chat. Now, that would be great if it was actually true, but because I didn't steal it and it's my own work, he can't.
Yeah.
But he's so flippant with his accusations of dishonesty. It's just beautiful.
I wouldn't let it worry you, man. This is really cool.
It is. It was a legitimate, genuine attempt to try and do something useful.
But then that's not stuck there. That's just being held there.
Yeah, the vacuum, it creates a small vacuum. I don't really understand how it does it. Just the fact that it does it, to me, defies logic. It defies physics.
It's kind of like, when you've got a bottle of water and you hold it upside down. If you haven't got a hole at the top to let more air in, then it won't actually fall down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Have you? Yeah. So you've got nowhere to bring in more. Yeah, that's cool.
It's like when you get a beer. If you get a pint of beer and then you put your mat underneath it and then you do that, you can hold your beer with the mat.
Yeah.
Weird how it works. I don't get how it works.
I love how you have to make sure to say there it's just normal water in case people accuse you of something.
Say that again.
I love how you've had to put on there. Oh, it's just normal water. Like as in someone would probably say, "Oh, he's got something in that water."
The knobheads, they will just they will literally make flippant shit up.
Yeah, you've got to be so descriptive and make sure you cover your ass on everything, otherwise they'll use it against you.
And I described it like a vacuum, right? I didn't say it was a vacuum. I said it was like a vacuum, and they spent ages at saying that he doesn't understand what a vacuum is, and I'm like, I'm comparing it to a vacuum in the sense that there's a disequilibrium there, and it's things like that they focus on to try and discredit the point that the video is making. It's like, I understand it's not a vacuum, dickheads. I'm just making the point so that people understand what the physics is that's going on here.
What would you call it? It's weird. I don't know.
Can't make up my mind if this guy in the chat is obviously arrived early, is trolling with sarcasm, or is actually genuine. Have you read what he's saying?
No, let's have a look. Dr. John Wallace.
Yeah, you've got it.
You know who John Wallace is, don't you?
Yeah.
I can't see him. Where is he?
In the live stream chat. Obviously, we're not live yet, but
Oh, yeah. I've not got that open. I've just got the Hangouts open.
Have you? Yeah, I think he's taking the piss.
I think
Have you
he's
heard what
taking the piss.
Flat Earth's current position is on the container, the gas pressure? He's saying that gravity is the container. Redefining gravity, the dickhead.
All right. So non-force
Looking up
gives
the-
rise to container, does it?
The container.
Say again, right the hand.
I was going to say gravity isn't a container, but it creates one.
You broke up, but I think you were saying gravity is not a container, but we can think of it as a container. Even if you weren't,
Oh, there we
I'm
go,
saying
yeah.
it.
Yep.
Dr. John Wallace.
One Burgo 7. It is pseudoscience, but you can think of it as basic science. Thumbs up. Never gets old.
Never going to go out of fashion either.
No.
Nathan, on that video, man, I love your laugh. It cracked me up, man.
On which video?
That one that you just watched. That I just sent you the link to. Nathan just put it in Master B before.
Oh.
I watched it, man. Your laugh at the end there is just the funniest shit.
Truth in your face.
Sorry?
Truth in your face.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So good. It's gold.
One of those, you lead somebody by the hand for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then at the end you ask them the question, and when they give you the complete opposite answer to how you've led them, that to me is just very funny. You know, yes, I understand. Yes, I completely agree. Yes, I concede that point. Now, would you say that location's a viable independent variable? Yes. But no. You idiot. I think that was the show where I was crying at the end. It was right on the hour mark, and I was just about to round out, and he said that. It's like, you bastard. I'm gonna have to be corpsing on the outro now.
Good morning.
Hey, 10th man.
Hey, man, how are you?
Came in at the end of a laugh. What did I miss?
And I think we were just talking about the end of that Planner Walk show. Truth in Your Face took What's My Fallacy and turned it into like a mock quiz show with Planner Walk as the guest of What's My Fallacy. That's a lovely sound coming from Mind Warped.
Yeah, sorry,
I'm just strangling this
I thought that was
chicken.
Final War from-
it's our little girl. She's just got her voice.
Oh, fair enough. I'll take it back.
She's 7 months old, and she started crawling, and she started screaming. How's the little one there?
Good. She's not here at the moment, the littlest one.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, loving that video. So how you're saying, so walking to the right will cause an earthquake, and then at the end of that video, it's like there's that little jingle that and step to the left, and then it cuts to like everyone in Asia like with a massive earthquake.
It's just such a joke.
It's fucking hilarious.
That's why I creased up at the end, because before that I'd said to him, right, okay, just let's try this out. Move to your left 6 inches. Did you cause an earthquake? You know, it was so blatantly obvious. The location being just. But for him to,
then when they cut that in at the end, there I was just like, oh, gold.
Yeah, a bit of Rocky Horror. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it again because I thought it was hilarious.
he makes some good videos. I mean, I'm not just saying that because he often features me in them, but he's, you know, he's quite entertaining in the way he puts them together. He's not just snipping out a bit of the debate and then, you know, maybe commenting on it. He's made it into a proper game show. Like you say, he had the earthquake, the game show bit. It just, you know, he just puts together quite entertaining little videos. They're only about 2 or 3 minutes long as well, which I like. Short attention span and all.
Yeah, no, they're very good.
About 15 minutes and we'll be live.
No workers.
So Anthony, did you get many more responses from your last video?
About the bell jar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a response video from GeoStreamer, which I'm going to address tonight. Can't wait.
Good.
Did you notice that Ranty's been picking up some Sleeping Warrior tips on poking the bear?
I heard it on the last show.
But what's he done?
I can't even remember who it was now. Wolfie, maybe? Was it Wolfie? I can't remember. He poked somebody, but he just did it really well. He went to the comments and showed his nonsense in the comments and his replies, and it was just very, very Sleeping Warrior. And I was like, oh, you've got tips.
Yeah, he's learning, eh?
I actually like Wolfie. Hey, his last video was actually not bad. I didn't even realize he was a pilot. Eh? That's how much I've missed out on. Yeah. When I say that, I mean he's alright for a Glober.
I don't know enough about him, but he talks like Paul Voigt, and Paul Voigt just pisses me off. Talks through his adenoids.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Hey, Chocolate.
Good morning, peeps.
Hey, Chocolate.
Hey,
Hey, Chocolate.
Yo.
Chocolate.
What were you gonna say, man?
Yo.
Chocolate, did you see my video last night?
Yes, I did.
GeoStreamer's done a response video, a response hangout, and it's absolutely fucking glorious. So this is gonna.
To what? To the experiment?
Yeah, it's glorious, given that these guys are supposed to be like better than us in science, and we're all dumb bastards. The fucking absolute fucking idiots. I'm well gonna rip them apart tonight.
I've watched your video. Can you put the link on the side there for their video?
It's on the GeoStreamer channel. Yeah, hang on.
I'm just lazy.
I know.
Thanks.
So what? He tried to debunk it.
Yeah. Waiting for a bus to go past. Yeah, he's trying to debunk it. So where do you want the link? In the side chat?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's in the side chat. I should have put.
There we go. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I've not time stamped it though. Hang on. Copy link. Yeah,
that's right.
Basically, they're saying gravity's causing it. Gravity wasn't the independent variable.
Oh, so this is a hangout.
When it's not.
Oh my god, what's with the host's voice?
He's a German national.
Oh.
Hey, Anthony, I just went to the comment section after I left that video. That comment for you, where you responded with "shh." Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh! And speaking of poking the bear, so I'm reading this one comment by a guy named B Rational 6 hours ago. You got to go read that for a minute.
Just read it out.
Okay. You realize the atmospheric pressure is pushing upwards against the lid with a force of 14.7 pounds per square inch. What does the water weigh? 1 to 2 pounds? Question mark. The air pocket is at pressure 2, but due to the pull of the water increasing volume, the pressure is slightly less per square inch. Breaking the seal increases the pressure back to 14.7 pounds. I'm sorry, 14.7, and the weight alone is enough to push the lid down. Simple stuff, 10th man. They teach it to kids in school. Sleeping Warrior must slept through that lesson. So you're telling me you need a container for pressure? That was my part at the end.
What was his response to that?
Well, I haven't sent it to him, but the point is, I just read it, and when Anthony did the experiment, I saw what Anthony was showing, but I saw something else. How's all that water in that jar with such a big gaping size hole at the neck? I mean, it's not like a soda pop bottle, it's a big jar. And how's that flimsy piece of whatever it was holding all that water from being pulled down by gravity? So I sent a remark to Anthony saying, wait a minute, where's this force that's holding all the oceans together but can't pull that lid off with all that water? What's going on here? And so this guy responds with the 14.7 argument, but he says pressure, but the pressure can't happen without a container. So he's trying to scientifically answer one thing, at the same time he's admitting that you can't have gas pressure without a container.
Yeah, they're screwed 6 ways from Sunday in this regard.
Oh my gosh. Great.
I'm trying to find your original comment. I can't find it.
Hang on.
Oh, found it.
Yeah, there's 7 additional comments, it looks like. But that was from Be Rational. Oh my gosh. But it's funny, you can see one experiment or one test like Anthony did, should I say. And I see something totally different because, like you said, Nathan, you hold this one false line, there's 3, 4 other things, maybe 6 other things that come into play. So I went that route. And this guy just is now admitting to the 14.7 pounds of pressure, but then at the same time, he must admit that you must have a container to have pressure.
No, I don't get all my notifies.
Go to your settings and see if they're turned on or off, or if they're going to vibrate or ring a bell when they come on.
Where are my settings?
What are you looking?
Settings.
Should be on your phone. If you're doing it on your phone.
Job it's not a Friday, eh? All this dead air.
Find a video.
Well, I'm just responding to this guy, so see what he says.
I don't mind on a Monday. It's neither in there. The audience that's listening to this is quite happily chatting away, I don't doubt, at this very moment.
Who was the guy? Who was the guy on the Ballbusters that in the after show? I can't remember. It's a Monday, so I can't remember.
Zanuck.
Yes, Zanuck, like the drug. Yeah, I mean that guy was violating the law of contradiction left and right.
They all do.
It's nonsense. That double speak knocks him out. It's just like, stop. You can't even talk.
Yeah, he's not the only one.
No, I love when you apply that same rule to everything. And you've applied it when they bring in outer space and ISS and orbits and rocks floating and vacuum. You say, well, that's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics, so it can't exist. Well, that's a violation of the law of non-contradiction. You can't have one thing be both things in the same relationship. I mean, it just shuts them down. They have to start thinking. They got to make their sentences make sense.
Wait, but here, so like you guys know Dawn, right?
Go on,
I don't know, Dom, but go on.
So I'm talking to him right now, and he's like, "Oh, just in the Discord chat," and he's like, "Oh, flat Earth doesn't make sense." So I'm like, "What? Level water, air pressure needing a container, that kind of stuff." He's like, "No, that's not what makes sense." He's like, "The sky, it just being lights," and I'm like, "Yeah, mass floating in nothing while moving around other gases not expanding into the vacuum makes so much more sense." And then he goes, "This is what he says: It's not about making sense." What? He's
Right.
like, it's about
After you just said it doesn't make sense. Right. Way to go, Don.
He goes, reality is not.
Dawn is one of the nicest, dumbest bastards I've ever met.
That's a perfect example. That was perfect.
He's polite. He doesn't get too riled, but he's dumb as fuck.
Well, he won't come into the voice chat, that's for sure.
Nathan berates him. Nathan, you need to ease off on these little fuckers. They're dying slowly and painfully. You need to help them, not kill them.
Why?
I don't know. I kind of like the good cop, bad cop we can do. You know, like Nathan can rile him up, and then somebody else can come and be like, okay, calm down, and then put their arm around him and be like, look, don't worry about it. Like, show me the orbit.
Anthony, that's you. Good cop.
I know. Sometimes we do that, but sometimes I can't be asked because I know that you'll be rating me if I interrupt.
Fine. You be bad cop. I'll put my arm around these fundies. Bless you, little sods. Fuzz their hair.
We don't have to be bad cop anymore. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God. I can just imagine you dedicating one show a year just to be arms around the fundies. That would be a hilarious show.
Hey, man. Not into it.
That's what I'm saying. One time a year would be enough.
I think I might be missing the point of what I'm saying. What I'm saying, Nathan, is that we're winning here. We don't need to be harsh with them. But I understand that it's easy to be harsh, but you come across badly at times. And I'm just saying that we don't need to.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join this discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now, we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, Ranty Flat Earth, Mind Warp, Chocolate Sane, 10th Man, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. Very good to have you all.
Woohoo! Good Monday.
Good morning, all.
Good to be here.
Hello.
Good
hello.
evening.
Hello. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Definitely not.
Nah.
Any signs of...
There are signs of it.
Oh, excellent. Let's hear about the signs of Earth curve.
You can observe curvature.
No,
Where do we observe that?
Hold on, it's his claim. Yeah, when we say, yeah, that's great, tell us about it, don't just reassert the claim. You have to support the claim, not just paraphrase it.
Sure, you can see the curve from the ISS.
The ISS is claimed to be in a region that cannot possibly exist, a vacuum. So the ISS, whatever it may be, a light in the sky, is definitely not the set that they present on television, because it's claimed to be in a second law of thermodynamics violation. So anything that comes from that particular source is automatically deemed bunk because it's come from a fake medium.
Well, you said signs of it, so there are pictures. Those are signs, right?
That's the same assertion. I've just ripped that to pieces. Do you want to repeat back what I said to you rather than just claim it and completely ignore every word I said?
Well, you didn't rip it apart. You just strawmanned it, but that's all right.
Why are you giggling in the
Do you
background?
want to
Are you just
explain?
in-
Hold on. Do you want to explain why stating that the medium cannot possibly exist based on a law of nature is a straw man?
Yeah, because you asked if there were signs of Earth curvature. I said yes, there are photos from the International Space Station. You said no, there's no such thing as a vacuum next to gas pressure, aka an atmosphere in space. And that was your strawman assertion.
No, that's not a straw man. It's a direct address to the claim that you have a spaceship in a fake medium taking pictures of Earth curve. It's not a straw man. It's a direct address to your claim.
A direct address to the claim would be there's no such thing as the ISS.
No, that's not what I said. So that would be a misrepresentation of what I said. Clearly, you do need to repeat back what I said because you didn't hear it, because I did not say that. Hello? Do you want to repeat back what I actually said, see if you comprehended what I said?
I heard you.
Well, repeat it then.
No thanks.
Hey, Anthony, maybe I should put my arm around this wanker. So you're going to misrepresent what I've said, and when I ask you to repeat what I've said, the actual destruction of your claim of Earth curve from a fake medium, you're just going to say no?
Fake medium? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, that's why I asked you to repeat back what I said. Fake medium, yes. That would be about the 4th time I've said that. So don't say it with an upward inflection like it's somehow shock to hear it. Yes, that's how I took apart your claim of Earth curve.
I'm asking you to explain what you mean.
Sorry, did you ask me to explain it to you? I already have. That's why I'm asking you to repeat it back. You said you understood.
Why is it a fake medium?
Don't ask me a question. I'm asking you to repeat back what I've already stated. I've already taken to pieces your argument. Based on a law of nature. No? Okay, no worries. So, any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety as Ranty is here?
Nope.
No. Can I just clarify, Nathan? That guy's trolling. Yeah, you are allowed to berate that guy as heavy-handed as you wish because he's laughing in the background whilst he's answering your questions.
I'm not laughing.
Yeah, you are. I can tell you sat there with a smirk on your face. Have you got your dick in your hand as well?
No need. No need. Right, any signs of axial rotation?
Well, not of the Earth-based variety, anyway.
Nope. What's up, Barl?
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
things
Nope.
accelerate
Not at
towards
all.
the ground
Nope.
at 9.8 meters per
No.
second.
Mass
What-
and
what-
weight.
What I have noticed, Nathan,
No
is that
evidence, but we can think of it as it.
what I've noticed, Nathan, is that the ballers love to infer that there is gravity in a scientific experiment when gravity is never the independent variable because you can't manipulate it, but they'll infer it anyway. I just find it hilarious.
That's right. That's why we ask for scientific evidence of it. Obviously, baseless assertions with just so stories. No, not good enough.
Well, I mean, you can measure a 9.8 meters per second squared acceleration towards the ground. That would be a sign, correct?
Where do we observe that?
Yes, sir.
Where? Hello?
I
Are you
suggest watching
deaf?
Ballbusters.
Are you deaf? Where do we observe that?
If you put it in a vacuum,
If you,
you can see
sorry,
the 9.8
stop.
per second
If
acceleration.
you, sorry, no, we're dealing with natural science, not what man-made stuff does. So no, not what you do. If you put it in a vacuum, no. Where do we observe this in nature?
Wait, so no scientific experiments are allowed?
You don't know what science is. Physical and natural world. We're talking about natural science. This is a debate about the Earth. We're talking about natural science.
So putting things in a vacuum is unnatural science?
No, we first observe natural phenomena. Putting something in a vacuum is something a man does. So it's not a natural phenomena that you need to figure out the cause of.
Okay, I observe things fall to the ground. I ask the question.
Yeah, that's...
what
You've
might
just
make them
said
fall
it
to the ground?
again. Look, you don't understand how this works. Don't just paraphrase your claim. Support your claim. Don't just rephrase it and state it again. Where do we observe this? Don't just state that we observe it. Tell me where we observe it in nature. So then we can figure out the cause of whatever it is you claim.
Yes, when I reach V1 speed on an airplane, I can take off.
What part of
that V1
natural don't you
speed
understand? Look, this guy's a moron. V1 on a plane is a man-made thing. That's not a natural phenomena. Do you understand what the word natural means? Not made by man.
Yes, sir.
Not made by man. So natural. That's what
So
we're looking for. Not
reification fallacy. You have to define what is defined as a scientific experiment or observable phenomenon.
look. A plane is not a natural phenomena. Do you have a natural phenomena?
That's
or
a
not?
reification fallacy, Nathan.
It's not what's a reification fallacy?
Dude, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, you don't know what a reification.
Yeah, sir. That's a reification fallacy.
Yeah, don't
So
restate it.
You're saying,
Oh,
I
you
would
dick.
like evidence. Hold
Listen,
on, I'm sorry,
listen.
I'm
If you make a claim, you
No,
follow it
hold
with
up,
support. You
sir.
don't just state the same thing over again.
So-
Yes, I heard you accuse me of using a reification fallacy. Now I want you to tell us what a reification fallacy is. Then associate what I said to that fallacy. Go.
Yeah, so when someone makes a claim or asks for a particular piece of evidence according to particular criteria, and you saying, these are the criteria that I want, someone gives you criteria, then you say, no, these are this very specific criteria that I want, particularly when those criteria have no bearing on the signs or proof or evidence that you're trying to assert in a debate.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think that matches the actual definition of a reification.
I'll read it.
fallacy.
Let's read it. Bring it back up. Reification, also known as concretism, hypothesization, or the fallacy of misplaced concretedness, is a fallacy of ambiguity when an abstraction, abstract belief, or hypothetical construct is treated as if it were a concrete real event or physical entity. In other words, it is the error of treating something that is not concrete, such as an idea, as a concrete thing. A common case of reification is the confusion of a model with reality. Quote, the map is not the territory. That would be a reification fallacy. So do you want to explain how I have reified something that is concrete into something that is something that is not concrete into something that is real. Go ahead and explain how I've done that.
Yeah, so reification fallacies also work the opposite way. So when you say something that is real, such as an airplane, right, and you call it not real.
Citation, please.
Well, where does it say that?
No,
I don't see that here.
Yeah,
That's
citation,
really
please.
interesting.
Citation.
Reification fallacies work both ways.
Don't restate it. So listen, this dick doesn't get it. You don't just restate it. Stop talking. Stop talking.
It's related to the pathetic
Stop talking,
fallacy.
please.
I think it's something like he did with the
rumpus by my own
ISS, right?
panel. Yeah. You're supposed to support your claim, not repeat your claim. So if you're going to state that a reification fallacy... Yeah, I'm talking. If you're going to state that a reification fallacy is something other than what I've just read off screen from some random member of the panel who put it up on screen, then cite something different. Don't just restate what you have already stated. Support your claim.
Yeah, you tried to say something, a concrete example that I gave was not concrete. Reification fallacy, the example that you gave was abstract to concrete, right? Or
I didn't give an example. Stop talking. I didn't give an example. You gave an example of a plane. And I said that's not natural.
Yep.
Now explain how that's a reification fallacy.
Because you said that that's not natural.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's not natural. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's not natural. A plane's not natural. But what I have stated in counter, he's just going to rumpus the living shit out of me. Yeah, stating that a plane is not natural is not a reification fallacy.
Yes, but trying to introduce that as the reason that it can't be considered. Excuse me, Tin Man. Hey, Tin Man. Excuse me. But stating that as a reason to dismiss evidence is.
It's not a reification fallacy.
Let me read now the definition of natural world, okay, by Webster. All of the animals, plants, and other things existing in nature and not made or caused by people.
So did he just? I think we'll find that while you were reading that out, he just chuckled. Now he's talking while I'm talking. So it seems like while he was reading that out, you started chuckling.
Yeah, because reading from Merriam-Webster's dictionary.
So let's just shut you up then and stick you on server mute while we carry on with housekeeping. Don't laugh while he reads out a definition. I'm not guilty of a reification fallacy when I point out that a plane isn't natural. That is absolutely not a reification fallacy, you complete bonehead. So we'll shut you up because you're a dick and you don't know what fallacy you're claiming. Don't falsely accuse me of a fallacy, then keep babbling over the top of me. I have not used a reification fallacy. I've pointed out that what you claim was science, when asked for scientific evidence of gravity, was a man-made device travelling at Mach whatever. That's not natural, you stupid idiot. So let's move on. No scientific evidence of gravity given.
Right. Oh, by the way, just a small supplemental. I'm looking around for other sources to figure out reification, and this one doesn't give that supposed other format that the guy was talking about either. It's very simple. It's just one thing. And it has apparently a relation to pathetic fallacy. And that's it. That's the only thing that's defined about it in every page that I come across. So
And even if it was a reification fallacy, he would have been guilty of it from the first thing he said, asserting the ISS and things like that are real. So whatever, bro.
Yeah, I can do that with being falsely accused of fallacious reasoning when I'm taking apart a claim he's made. And he says, well, your claim is a... It's like, I've made a claim. What are you talking about? Nonsense. Let's get on with housekeeping. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Not measurable.
No?
Far away.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
no.
Definitely not. We need to get Paul Voigt's toe tag number on that one sorted, because people still talk about that and say, well, why is that in housekeeping? Paul Voigt, he's the reason why. If anybody knows where that one is, shout.
He never came back. He never came back after that.
Say that again, Nathan.
He never came back.
No, he never came back. That's why Paul Voigt needs his toe tag number. So if anybody knows which hangout that was, let us know.
Took tail and ran, didn't he?
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container?
Not even in Anthony's jar.
Just walk outside and presuppose it.
What, like, any evidence of Earth radius?
Same thing.
There's no evidence of Earth radius, but you can think that there might be evidence for radius.
That's right. You just walk outside, keep on walking, and then you imagine that you're walking around the globe. Works.
There's a rewrite of Narnia to modern day topics, and they have in there reification airlines. So maybe it can have it.
That concludes the housekeeping. Thank you all who took part.
They got to live in Narnia to come up with some of the stuff they come up with.
Got Dawn here.
Hello?
Hello, Dawn.
Hello?
We were talking about you in the pre-show.
Yeah, I said that you were one of the politest but dumbest ballers I've ever spoke with.
I don't think Dawn wants to talk. Don't blame you, Dawn.
You might have offended him.
For some reason, I'm now just imagining that the Discord room is like a separate room connected to our room. And the ballers have come in and they've just pretty much turned over the tables and are hiding behind them now.
Got Brenda as well. Hey, Brenda.
Good morning.
And King Daddy, how you doing?
Have you when they're going to be offering trips to visit the ISS, would you have a GoFundMe to make that trip?
Ridiculous.
Okay, so they're going to be right. Okay, can you come back and tell us when they've done it?
They're going to the moon as well. Apparently, within 5
That's
years,
fine. That's fine.
So are these trips to the
if-
ISS going to be based on ayahuasca? Or some other type of mushroom
there's a-
extract?
So the question to Nathan is, would he have a GoFundMe to make that trip to the ISS? They're offering that. in the
Okay, I'll answer
future.
you. The ISS is in a fake medium. Whatever they claim it to be.
But would you go?
Yeah, I was in the middle of a sentence.
It's right here in the Netherlands.
Middle of a
Brenda. If you wanna
sentence.
go
Yeah,
to
middle
it,
of a
you just
sentence.
come here.
I let her ask her nonsense. Whatever they say is automatically fake. Whatever we see as a light in the sky is not the set they film the interior. That is on Earth. It's a set with film cameras and high wire. It's absolutely not in a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. There is no going to the ISS.
You could expose that.
There's no going to the ISS unless you're claiming that you want to go to the set where it's filmed, because it's not in a vacuum of space. That's Narnia. It doesn't exist. It's not possible to have a vacuum of the sky.
You could expose that.
I am exposing it.
have.
I am. Listen up. This is me exposing the ISS. Whatever they claim the ISS is on your television screen is a lie. The reason being they claim it is in a vacuum. Outer space. You can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum. It violates a natural law. There you go. That's me destroying anything that's claimed to be in space.
You could expose that by
I have.
documenting
I
how,
did.
how they.
Just then.
Yeah, Brenda, if you really want us to do that, then you pay for it. And
Well, I'll tell you
then
what.
we'll in person find out that it's fake and we'll share that data with you, okay?
Wouldn't it be better to discuss this when this ISS trip is supposedly up and running?
I was just asking the question: when they offer trips, would you have a GoFundMe or in some way have a fund to take that trip in order to conclusively expose the lie.
I have conclusively exposed the lie. They claim the ISS is in a region that violates a law of nature. That conclusively debunks any notion of men travelling around in a sky vacuum. It is simply not possible to happen. Would I have a GoFundMe to give money to charlatans that I already know are lying? No. And in the same way, the guy on the beach who's playing 3-card Monty, if some shill comes up to me and says, look, he'll prove it's not a con, yeah, no, I walk away from the shill. The shill in this example being you, the one shilling for the ISS.
So why wouldn't you take advantage of a chance and of an opportunity to conclusively show to other people who are not convinced or just otherwise have never heard of you, right? There's lots of people who've never heard of you.
I've already debunked it. How many? This is the 3rd time. They claim it's in a region that cannot exist, like Narnia. You cannot have a sky vacuum. The gas we breathe would fill the space. The claimed area that spaceship is in, space, violates a natural law. It can't possibly be real. That debunks the ISS. I don't need to now buy into their bullshit or any pretend trips they claim the public will be going to, because they won't be. You can't go to Narnia. It's not real.
Well, I don't understand why you wouldn't take the opportunity to take...
Because it's not real! Because you can't travel to Narnia. If someone comes up on the street and says, do you want to go to Narnia through the wardrobe, I already know Narnia's fake. So am I going to pay him a substantial amount of money to pretend to put me through a wardrobe? No.
Well,
I already know it's fake.
Other people, in order to show other people who might be duped by the person taking...
I'll do that now.
Look what happened to Greater Sapien.
Do that.
He paid $20,000 to go on a plane trip that was supposed to expose the flat Earth that never took place. It was just a big scam.
Yeah, Brenda, if you want
presumably
that, you
Nathan
go do
wouldn't
it.
do that.
You go do it, Brenda.
Right?
Yeah, have I answered your question? No, I wouldn't give charlatans money. Why? Because I already know they're a charlatan. How? Because they're claiming to be in Narnia. Fake. Space. Not possible. Violates a natural law. So no, I'm not going to give people who claim to violate natural laws, wizards, any money. No, I already exposed that it's not real by demonstrating with a natural law that it violates and therefore can't be real. So no need to give them any money.
Well, I don't understand why you don't want to take the flat Earth message to the rest of the world.
Shut up! You just explained
Shut Brenda up.
3
Sick
times.
of it. Have you got any? Well, let's not shut her up before I ask. Anything else other than why would you not give money to charlatans? Is that your only point here today, Brenda?
No, it's why don't you want to take the flat Earth message to the rest of the people who
Here
might...
we go. I'll take the message to the rest of the people. Space is fake. It violates a law of nature, the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy would take effect. The gas we breathe, which is expanding in all directions, would want to go into the vacuum, the lower pressure system, based on a natural law. Therefore, space is fake. It cannot possibly exist, or we'd all be at 10 to the minus 17 torr at sea level, because the gas would fill the space. It doesn't. It's absolutely pressing on something. Not a vacuum. Gas can't press on a vacuum. It would disperse. It doesn't. Therefore, space is fake. No need to buy into their bullshit 3-card Monty. No need to listen to the shills like Brenda who tell us that we should be paying them to show us how it's not fake. Yeah, I'll pay a magician to trick me when I already know he's a magician. These wizards aren't getting a dime out of me. I'll sit on my channel to the very limited audience I have and tell them space violates a natural law. There are no violations of this natural law. If there were, it wouldn't be a natural law. And yet you and your wizards and your fundy belief in a sky vacuum is all you have. So I don't need to go up and see that space is fake. I already know. Right, 1 string guitars only from the globe side, it seems.
Brenda, can I ask you a question? Brenda.
Oh, you're talking to me? I thought I was muted. See, I can't always tell because sometimes I'm muted and sometimes I'm not. What's your question?
Is gravity a force, Brenda?
Yes.
No further questions.
So, according to an astrophysicist priest of heliocentrism named George Musa, said in 2019, gravity is not a force.
But
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
think
that's
of
an
it as
appeal
a
to
force.
authority fallacy. That's an appeal to authority fallacy.
Incorrect. An appeal to authority would be if I asked my mum about whether or not convection currents on Venus were real. However, when you appeal to somebody who is an expert in their field, that is not an appeal to authority. Understand
No,
your
it
fallacies.
still is. When you limit it to only one person, it's still an appeal to authority. You need to appeal to the consensus of scientific opinion.
Oh, right. Well, we've got plenty of other people who say the same things.
The
Brian Cox
consensus
also
of
says
scientific opinion.
gravity is not really
Yeah,
a
that
force
was
at
cute,
all.
Brenda.
Sorry, gravity is not really a force at all. Quote, Brian Cox. I think he's also an astrophysicist, is he not?
Now, I'm kind of shocked. Like,
I think he's
I
a
don't
TV
think
personality. He's a
science.
TV
I don't think
personality.
science is like a democracy, Brenda. I think it's truth-based, not choice-based.
This is just a gravity on week because last week she was arguing that gravity wasn't a force, and this week it is a force. So maybe next week it won't be a force again. It's awesome.
Okay, I guess science is more like a lottery then.
Sorry,
Basically, it's like gravity's a scratch off.
Did you say Dr. Cox is just a personality? Dr. Brian Cox, that is.
You're just appealing to somebody in the media.
Yeah, you've repeated it again. So that's two different sources now. Dr. Brian Cox, who apparently is just a TV personality, but Dr. Brian Cox says gravity is not really a force at all. And George Musa, astrophysicist, says gravity is not a force. So this isn't an appeal to authority, as these are experts in the field of heliocentric religion. So absolutely not.
Brenda, further to my
So
question, Brenda.
I don't think that's the case because I don't think that you can just appeal to one or two people. And
no, a minute ago it was appeal to authority. Now I'm just appealing to one or two people. Look, Brenda, you don't have to like this, you fundamentalist idiot. Gravity is not a force, whether you like it or not. It's tough crap.
Brenda, could I just ask you, could you tell me what gravity is? Could you define it for me, please?
It's a force.
George Musa, 2019. In quotes, gravity is not a force. Dr. Brian Cox, 2016. Gravity is not really a force at all.
Yeah, so what? That's just an appeal to authority.
No, it's not an appeal to authority. Appeal to authority would be if I asked my mother about gravity, as opposed to an expert in their field. That's not an appeal to authority. That's the second time she's levelled this at me. So clearly we're in a position where we're going to get Brenda the stuck record constantly circle jerking us around with the same accusation being made, me making the same rebuttal, her completely ignoring it and then making the same exact accusation a few moments later. I'm just tired of her.
Right. Yeah, Brenda's like a disco song, just keeps on playing the same loop over and over again.
Right.
Well,
She's got nothing.
Didn't the whole scientific so-called community say Einsteinian took over Newtonian? So aren't they?
That was why I asked her to define what gravity is, because I'd like to know what Brenda thinks gravity is, because I'm a little confused.
Well, I'm sick of hearing from her. She keeps saying it's force when it isn't. So I'm tired of her.
Well, the whole of science is saying it isn't now. So-called science.
It's an apparent attraction that can be treated as a force. Sometimes.
Real quick, I want to dedicate a quote to one of these chat trolls.
Hold on, Don said something.
Oh,
Don.
So Okay, go ahead.
That's my definition of gravity for Riley.
Go on then, Dawn. You're going to define gravity for us. What is gravity?
I think it's an apparent attraction that can be treated as a force sometimes.
An apparent attraction. So, are you an apparent female, Dawn?
No, hopefully not.
Right. So, are you ever going to be a female, Dawn?
No, I mean people do appear when they're not female, don't they? That happens.
It's not an attraction, then, is it, Dawn?
Yeah, it's an apparent attraction. That's my definition of it.
Yeah, apparent is fake, not real.
So
no,
does
it
that
could
make
be
you an
real?
apparent
We just don't
female?
know. So far we've just got the appearance of the attraction.
Yeah. So, Dawn, you're an apparent female.
I don't think so. No.
I do. You're an apparent female. I can think of you as a female.
If you really want.
There you go.
Weird,
So
though.
it's the same applies for your perception
hold
of
on,
gravity.
hold on. He's just said if you like. So, him thinking you as a female, does that mean you are female, Dawn?
No, I'm not saying.
So
it
thinking
is
of something
attraction.
as
I'm
something
saying we've
else
got the
doesn't mean it
appearance of
is.
an attraction.
So thinking of something as though it's something else doesn't mean it is that something else. So although
of
we
course-
can
of course
think
not.
of you as being female, that doesn't make you female. That's Anthony's point.
I'm agreeing. Yes.
Yeah, so
Right.
you can think of it as a force, but it isn't a force, Dawn.
Yes. I'm agreeing.
Excellent. So not a force then, Dawn. Not a force.
An apparent attraction that can be treated as a force sometimes.
An apparent attraction means not an attraction, Dawn.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It means apparent attraction. It means
doesn't,
there could
Dawn.
be an attraction.
You could also call it
appears
a
to be
wannabe
attractive.
attraction.
No
Because
worries.
it's not
Let's
real.
dispense with this.
Wannabe.
Show me an apparent attraction, please.
It's a
I guess I'll
fantasist
use
standing on the
Neil
side,
deGrasse Tyson
imagining
mic drop.
how somebody would be attracted to them, but in reality, they're just standing there, not doing anything.
Yeah. They could actually be attracted to him, right?
Yeah, a fantasy. That's what that is.
Oh, just the appearance of something.
No, it just appears like there's something happening to the
Yeah.
person in their
It
experience.
appears to
But
be
in
attracting-
reality,
the Earth
the
appears to be
physical
attracting
reality,
mass.
there's not anything happening. He's just standing there daydreaming.
Well, you don't know, do you, until you go and ask him.
Or you could look at him and just look at him standing there, and then
Yeah.
afterwards, like, hey, what are you thinking about? And then
There's
he
an
could tell
appearance
you.
of an attraction. That's good evidence that there might be an actual attraction, isn't it?
Oh my god.
Yeah, but you had to walk
You
over
don't think
there.
appearances
They told you they were
sometimes
like
turn
a
out to be true?
No, Dawn. It's been made clear by astrophysicists. Didn't you listen?
Yeah, it's not a force. It's still an
Yeah.
attraction, right?
So saying it might turn out to be a force when it's made clear in your rhetoric that it's not a force is never going to happen, is it, Dawn? So wishful thinking, maybe.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing for force. I'm just saying it's an apparent attraction.
That's a non-attraction then. So it's not a force, not an attraction. Yeah, okay, we're in agreement. Jolly
We
good.
have the appearance of an attraction, and we can treat it like a force for maths and stuff.
Yeah, we can treat you like a woman. Because you are a woman?
If you want to,
Because
yeah.
you are a
That's
woman.
really weird, but if you want to, yeah.
Yeah, because you are a woman. Treating you like one makes you one, doesn't it, Dawn?
No.
No, so
I agree,
treating
it
it like a force, imagining that it's a force, thinking of it as a force, will never make it a force. Do you
But
understand?
you telling us that us thinking of it as a force doesn't make it a force won't stop us thinking of it as a
Yeah,
force.
we know.
We can't stop you
we
from
know.
being
Hold on, let me
delusional,
gloat in this
right?
moment. Yeah, we know that you will still hold a fundamentalist religious belief about it, no matter how much it's pointed out that
But
it's
you're
nonsense.
just going to keep whinging about it all
Yeah,
day,
no, we're not
every day
whinging,
on
we're
the
laughing
internet.
at you, Dawn. You with your double-speak and fundamentalist belief in
Well,
a
we're all
non-force.
laughing at each other.
In
Yeah,
a
we're
non-force
definitely
force
laughing,
that gives
Dawn,
rise
because
to
that
a
was a
force.
ridiculous statement you just made, bro. We're
What?
just gonna keep
What did I
thinking
make?
about it. Nah. We don't care.
Which one did I make?
Ridiculous,
We'll carry
man.
on pretending whether
You
you
can
like
never
it or
take
not,
away
and
our
all you
beliefs.
can do is moan.
Right.
Yeah, it's not though, is it? It's treated as a force because it acts like a force.
Yeah, we know.
That's why
it's
people
treated
treat
like
it as a
one.
force.
Yeah, treated.
Yeah,
This
it's
non-force.
acting. It's acting, just like actors are acting.
Yeah, just
It's
pretending.
not really real. It just looks like it.
Yeah,
Why
just
is
pretending.
this
Okay.
cognitive dissonance not mending here, Don?
Yeah,
We've,
Don, keep
we've
searching for the
discovered
right
that there's an
combination of
apparent
words that'll
attraction
make that statement true.
between
Go ahead.
masses. and it's not a force, but we can treat it as a force. So we've established that.
They're not Nikes, but you can treat them as Nikes.
Yeah, it's like I think dark energy. It's not anti-gravity, but you can treat it as anti-gravity. So I heard this one.
More fundamentalist religious assertions. I love it. Any old bullshit they feed you, you'll believe, won't you, Dawn?
It just sounds to me like, yeah, you can act upon whatever fantasy you like. That's basically the statement.
I'm not sure how much I believe in the ISS. That's why I'd like you to go, like Brenda was suggesting. You should go on there and prove it to us that it's fake.
I have.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, I have.
You've just
It's in a
asserted-
fake
you've
medium.
asserted it.
It's in a fake medium. The medium is Narnia. It can't possibly be real.
Wait, so Dawn, I got a question. When you heard like people were going to start going to the ISS, did you think it was a good idea? Did you think, yeah, now we can definitely prove the ISS is up there because they're going to start sending people up there? Was that how you thought about it?
I've never heard of it before. Brenda said. I just think if your argument is that it's fake, why don't you prove it?
I have proven it. I'll say it again. The region the ISS is claimed to be in is space, and space is claimed to be a vacuum. Now, gas pressure wants to expand in all directions. High pressure would flow into the low pressure vacuum. Because it's not pressing on it, it would disperse into it, leaving us at the claimed level of vacuum that space is claimed to be. It would reach equilibrium, and we would be at 10 to the minus 17 torr at sea level. Because the gas can't press on anything, it would instantly disperse into the fake medium that can't possibly be real. So I don't need to travel to a claimed fake place. I'm not going to be walking through any wardrobes to Narnia to know that Narnia is not real. Your religious assertion that the sky is a vacuum defies a law of nature.
Nathan, do you remember when the supposed ISS was hit by a meteorite and they stuck a finger in there to plug the hole?
What, on the set? They certainly weren't doing that in space because space is fake. It violates a law of nature. It can't possibly be real. It's like Narnia. So they might have been sticking fingers in holes in a set somewhere in the States, but they certainly weren't doing it in a vacuum of the sky because that's not real.
Yes, the report was that they were hit by a meteor and one of the astronauts, to save the day, got his finger out and plugged the hole with it.
No way. No, it was hit by an album cover. You know that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, none of that happened. It's all just bullshit stories they made up. The region that was all claimed to take place in is fake.
What do you think about that, Dawn? What do you think about that, Dawn? It suffered a strike by a meteor and he stuck his finger in it to plug the hole. What do you think of that?
I think it's a very silly story. I don't know.
Very true, though.
You can make up anything you like about Narnia. You can have any plot you like. You can have any plot you like in Narnia, and they can have any plot they like in a fake place they've just made up.
It's
Space.
a good analogy. 'Cause I would go though if you invited me, even if I doubted it was real, I'd still go.
Okay, no worries. I want you to set up a go. No worries. Okay, I'll test you on that. Narnia is our destination, Dawn, and you need 10,000 rupees in order to come. So you're going to raise those rupees?
That's not a lot, Nathan. That's like
I know,
€50
it's
in
cheap.
India.
I know, it's cheap. Cheap as chips. So you're going to raise the
And
rupees to go to
Zelda, that'll
Narnia?
get you a lot.
Right.
I get your point. It's not worth the risk in case they brainwash you and take you into a basement somewhere instead
No,
of
we're
Narnia.
not. We're talking about Narnia, right? I have access to the wardrobe. Are you going to raise the money to go through the wardrobe door into Narnia or not?
No, I don't trust you. Sorry.
Why not? It's real. I've got pictures, mate, and video.
But
the
you don't
crowd
got a body
buys
of
the money,
science
yeah.
to support you.
I'll come, but I haven't got the money myself.
Right. So you would actually pay money to go to Narnia?
No, not me. If Flat Earth community is gonna pay, yeah.
Well, I'm asking you, Dawn. Would you pay to go to Narnia, an obviously fake region?
If I was a millionaire, yes.
Well, then you're an idiot. A fool and their money's easily parted. You being that fool, and anybody who buys into the ISS in a fake region would also be as foolish as you.
Whoa,
There's a
dude!
chance
I
it
was
could be
actually
real.
kind of
There's a
right.
small chance it
5,000
could be
rupees
real.
is 63 euros.
Yeah.
Whoever
Dawn,
does that
wouldn't-
has to come out of the closet.
We have
Right,
to
got
reach
two
for the
people-
stars, guys. We can't
people sharing.
give up.
Does
We
somebody
can't
wanna
just
put
be
s-
humans crawling around on the ground like ants. We have to reach for the stars and heaven. We have to stretch upwards,
Are you praying?
ascend to the sky.
Are you praying?
That's
Sorry.
to be done. However much you lot learn, that's what people are doing. That's what they're trying to do. That's what's going on.
Yeah, they want to go to heaven. I know. They're fundies. They're idiots. They believe in the priest's stories about sky vacuums. I know.
Some of them seem to be getting somewhere near there. They're going up.
Who are? You?
No, not me.
Right, so the priests. And the people that the priests say are legit and have been
The
vouched for by the
Freemasons,
priests. They're going to be the people that go, Dawn.
The Masons. The Masons are currently ascending, and you lot are just whinging about it, so pretending it's fake.
Not pretending it violates a law of nature, Dawn. How many times have I got to say
Yeah,
it?
You just pick and choose which law of natures you believe in, don't you?
No, you just pick and choose which laws of nature you believe in. You believe in a violation of a law of nature. That would be a vacuum of the sky. You pick and choose. I know it's a law of nature. It holds true always. If it didn't, it wouldn't be a law of nature anymore. It is, because it
the law of
does.
gravitation.
You, on the other hand, decide that it doesn't apply to your fundamentalist religious belief in a sky vacuum known as outer space. So no, Dawn, don't level the idea that I pick and choose when your sky vacuum violates that law.
I don't think it applies to.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, what a great fundamentalist religious zealot assertion right in the face of it. So I don't think that law of nature applies. So you just pick and choose then?
No, I still believe it's the true law. I just don't think it applies to the whole atmospheric nature of the planet. Like,
Yeah, planet. Your fundy belief in a planet has a violation of a law of nature and you don't think it applies, yet you've just levelled an accusation that I pick and choose. No, Dawn, you fundy zealot. You pick and choose.
well, maybe we all do.
No, we don't. Only the globe-head religious zealots like yourself decide that laws of nature don't apply because their beliefs defy
Law of
them.
gravitation. Do you believe in that one?
No, it's not a law.
No.
We don't observe it ever. How can we observe it as a law of nature when it's not a force, Dawn? What are we observing? Nothing happening. Yeah, that's not a law of nature, my friend. That's nothing happening.
The appearance of attraction. That's what
No appearance. We don't see that happening. There is no force of attraction. If there was, Dawn, we'd all be sucked to the nearest mass, i.e. a huge mountain. We're not. Right? There is no force of attraction between masses. That's been made clear by the astrophysicists. You can deny it all you like. It's not a force. There's nothing to observe. Unless you're going to claim we should be observing bendy space-time, a conceptual medium. No, Dawn. There's nothing to observe. It's not a law. There's nothing happening in nature. We don't observe mass attracting mass, my friend.
Would you like me to read this report?
Go ahead. Does it beg the question of space? I bet a pound it does.
It does, yeah.
Go ahead.
The International Space Station has sprung a leak after being hit by space junk or a micrometeorite. Mission flight controllers in Houston and Moscow noticed a drop in pressure on Wednesday night. Just noticed it. And on Thursday, they found a hole. It would have taken 18 days for the crew to run out of there if they had not spotted the leak, Nathan, apparently. The damage was found by closing hatches to each module, etc. And Alexander Gerst initially plugged the gap with his finger before using duct tape to cover the hole, preventing the air leaking into space. Wow. I'll tell you what, when I get a hole in my tyre on my car, I'm going to use duct tape because it seems to do a very good job. Anyway, there we go. So there was a real life hit on the ISS apparently, Dawn, that created a hole and he stuck his finger in it to repair it.
No, there wasn't.
Do you know the brand of duct
Hold on,
tape?
10th man. I'm not repeating the same thing 5 times so you can jump in. No, there wasn't. None of that happened. So it says quite clearly the word space. And if you scroll up, just so we can see the graphic that they've got of the ISS that they claim is in space, according to them, this black bit is a vacuum 10 to the minus 17 torr. And according to them, this is where we live. Well, all of this is gas pressure wanting to expand rapidly in all directions. If this was a vacuum, then the gas would fill the space. So everything they've just claimed in this article about what happens on this bullshit here is completely debunked by the fact that we have a natural law that's being violated by the very picture that they show. So none of that happened. There was no hole in some claimed spaceship. The medium is fake. So none of that's true.
What do you think of that, Dawn? Hello?
So I'm
Dawn?
on mute. I don't know if I believe it. I don't give it much credibility.
Okay, because you see it was reported all over the place.
Maybe they had a hole, but the finger thing is like an exaggeration. Maybe they used a finger and something.
No, there was no hole. Every part of that narrative is a lie because it is claimed to take place in a region that violates a natural law. As depicted moments earlier, the black bit's supposed to be a vacuum, and right next to it is gas pressure, wanting to expand rapidly in all directions. So if that picture was true, the gas would fill the space.
Sounds like a fundy belief to me.
What you talking about? It's your fundy belief.
Exactly.
I don't believe pictures on TV that violate natural laws. They're just pictures from priests, pseudoscientists, pretender clowns that claim they have science. They're lying about that too.
In this fake
So
story,
please-
Don, they're supposedly in a container that sprung a small leak, and they're using fingers and duct tape to keep the air in. The background, meanwhile, shows the whole Earth with an atmosphere with no container. How does the air stay on?
Gravity.
Could someone explain to me which law gets violated by the space
Yeah,
outside
certainly.
our atmosphere?
Yeah, no worries. Second law of thermodynamics, entropy.
Okay. So, like, doesn't entropy kind of state, like, when it comes to gases, because we are talking about gases, doesn't it say, like, that those get distributed equally, right? So that if I have, let's say, a high gas pressure and a low gas pressure, the pressure will equalize, right?
In a static system, yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's not what I see when we look at our atmosphere.
Yeah, that's why I said in a static system. We don't live in a static system. We live in a dynamic system.
So what causes it to be dynamic then? What
heat
makes
exchange
this
The
from the day
nitrogen
and the
cycle, the
night.
carbon cycle. What part of this didn't you get from the show when you were, I believe, on the panel when we went through this? We have cycles. The gases are
I wasn't
produced
through. Like
at
we
ground-
have cycles.
Oh, my bad. I was just
let's
answering your
say-
question. My bad. My bad.
I wasn't hearing you. Sorry.
Well, then shut up, and you'll hear me. When you're talking, typically you don't hear me because you close everyone's gate. Yeah. So we have cycles. The gases are produced at ground level, not in the middle of the sky. So surprisingly, the gases are at the highest concentration where they're produced at ground level.
Oh, they're getting produced. Let's say a forest, the Amazonas, right? The Amazonas forest. How
So,
do you?
What's the
think
point in
that-
this? Why am I being asked questions about this? So yes, we have a dynamic system giving us a pressure gradient. However, the pressure is still pressure. It also violates Boyle's law. So you'd need to press on something to have pressure, and you can't press on a vacuum. Is there any rebuttal to that, or is this just an endless series of questions about how cycles work?
Do you know how trees grow, Nathan?
So this is just an endless question series to me about how the cycles work. Right, Zinda, the gas
Yeah.
would fill the space because it cannot press on anything if it's a vacuum in the sky. Do you have a rebuttal to that rather than endless questions about nature that don't relate to the sky vacuum and your fundamentalist religious belief in it?
Of course, if you let me get to the point, because when a tree grows, it takes carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and turns it into plant mass. So when let's say we have a forest fire that destroys a lot of the forests,
glucose,
and then much gas gets into the atmosphere. But once the plants grow, it takes gas away, which means that we should have lower gas pressure at sea level at that point at a specific region. That doesn't happen. The gas pressure is constant. So either entropy is wrong, or we don't live on a flat Earth with a pressure gradient as we experience.
Sorry, we do experience pressure gradient. That's the first thing. So where'd you get the gas pressure from in the first instance then?
Well, when we look at entropy and how it states that everything, all the gas should be equalized.
That's not what I asked.
Where the only thing that would explain it.
Sorry, that's not what I asked. Where did you get gas pressure from in the first instance? What's it pressing on?
Alright, I'm gonna repeat it. When I look at entropy and seeing how everything should get equalized, but it doesn't get equalized, the only thing I can assert there is that we have an acceleration.
Sorry, you've just violated that natural law. Why are you doing this? Stop! No, it does. Everything reaches its equilibrium. It's seeking equilibrium always. That's what entropy is. So to say no, it doesn't do that anymore. Well, no, yeah, it does hold true. If it didn't, it wouldn't be a natural law, Zinder. So violating it in the sentence that you're using isn't going to fly.
No, it isn't. The second law never gets violated because it's one of the most stable laws that exists.
Right. Zinder, can I help you out here? Hold on.
No, wait. So when I look,
I can visualize it.
No, I was talking, dude.
I know, but here, because you just keep.
Dude, I was fucking
I know
talking.
the pressure gradient, but just answer me this.
I was talking, dude.
I know. Just answer this. If you.
No, I'm not gonna answer a question before I.
Zinder, we understand the pressure gradient argument you've made 7 times. We understand it. We don't need to hear it 8. So just, I'm going to address it, and it's going to end your argument, and then we can move on. If you had a tire, right? And you put heat on one side and cold on the other, and then started moving those heat sources around the tire, would you have an equal pressure in that tire, or would it be a gradient and dynamic? There you go. Let's move on.
Well, you claim that because of...
No, I didn't claim anything. You would have a temperature difference where the heat source was, and then where you had a colder source, you would have it be colder, and it would be constantly trying to equalize. But as the source of heat moved, and as a lower source of negative, like a lower energy entropy action took place on the other side, you would have a constant flow from the heat to the cold, which would result, temperature and pressure are related, so you would have not only a temperature gradient, but also a pressure gradient. So this has been slayed. So please do not try and revive the pressure gradient disproves flat Earth when it does not.
All right, let me ask you one question then.
There's no
when
question.
It comes
You haven't answered mine. You haven't answered mine. You haven't answered mine. Where'd you get the gas pressure from in the first instance? You keep talking about gas pressure.
Hang on. Just admit that that's a pretty nail in the coffin there for the Globers. Seriously, you can have pressure changes with heat.
Ranty,
exactly.
I allowed him to make a statement, so I would like to respond to him.
But that's your argument done and dusted right there, literally.
Are you gonna let me talk and respond? Or
no worries. Please respond. Where'd you get the gas pressure from?
All right the hand. When it comes to gas, which part of the gas is denser usually, the cold gas or the hot gas?
Bro, it doesn't matter. It doesn't
no,
matter.
because
bro, hold on. Density is the amount of matter in a volume. Okay, so if you had a tire, when you took a density reading based on the temperature, pressure, you would have a different density around the tire. It would be you would get varying results. So you're just arguing values prove what you believe. You're saying if I measure this and I get this value of X, it proves what I believe. No, measuring something will never, ever, ever, ever prove the cause. You can watch me draw a circle with my hand, okay? You can time me drawing it. You can tell me how long it'll take. You can predict where my hand will be. You will never explain why I drew it.
Well, strange argument. But however, when you look at a balloon rising, like those like those balloons that they put fire under it, right? And then it rises because the air inside the balloon is hot. It expands when it gets hot, right? So it rises. But when we look at the atmosphere, at let's say where airplanes travel, we have minus 50 degrees Celsius, but the air density is less dense than at sea level. So your temperature argument completely falls apart when it comes to the pressure gradient.
Sorry, we know
No,
we've got a
because-
pressure gradient. Where did you get the gas pressure from if the sky is a vacuum?
The same way we get the pressure gradient from some kind of downward acceleration.
What downward acceleration?
Yeah, that would completely explain why entropy is still valid. Because when it comes to entropy, it would be affected by a downward acceleration, which would create a pressure gradient.
No. Do you want to
No,
cite?
no,
Hold
it
on.
wouldn't.
Hold on. Do you want to
They
cite
would
some-
only within a closed
Ugh.
container.
Oh, sorry. Do you want to cite something that says that there's some sort of force that can negate gases expanding in all directions? Do you want to show me that force? Scientifically validate it, cite it, prove it.
Yeah, if you,
I would like
if you
to.
give me
I
some
would like to
times,
respond to
I
that.
could send you
please.
something.
Zinder, because look, even if now I'm going straight back into baller lore, okay, and when it is discussed, it's pretty well admitted that gravity is supposedly considered as a weak force, and yeah, if it even is considered as a force at all, and then you get to entropy, it is considered one of the stronger forces. So yeah, even though the presumed gravity effect may be pushing at a constant on all matter, even though it's not actually sealing it off, that doesn't help against the awesome power of gas pressure expanding within the container. So the best you would get out of it is either a near vacuum on the Earth that's just slightly higher than the rest of outer space universe, or you would get an outer gas universe that would be slightly lower pressure than on Earth.
And with that, I'll say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, then a huge, massive, enormous thank you for smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff. Also, a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel on both Google Hangouts and Discord for making this show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching the premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
The force entropy relies on the amount of pressure difference, for example. That
No,
is
walls. It
that
needs
is there.
walls. Gas needs walls. So entropy is simply the reaching of equilibrium. But for having
Hello.
gas pressure, you
Hi.
need a container.
I don't know why everyone is on mute, including Nathan.
Well, you know why I'm on.
I'm here.
Yeah, so he cannot hear me probably because Nathan is on mute.
Ah, he's unmuted now.
Oh, can you hear me now, Arwen?
Yeah.
So, yeah, where'd you get the gas pressure? It needs a container.
Well, I wanted
Press
to
on.
tell him that entropy is in the force.
Sorry, entropy is the reaching of equilibrium. Yeah, the dispersion of the energy. Hot to cold, high pressure to low pressure. But gas pressure requires a container. It's the antecedent that is necessary in order to have gas pressure. So I'm asking you, where'd you get the gas pressure in the first instance, Cinder?
I don't know how our atmosphere was created.
Oh, well,
I
we've
can
got...
answer it to you.
Oh, right. Well, we've got Boyle's law. So it comes from the walls of the container.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, it comes from the walls of the container. So it's a necessary antecedent consequence situation. We need a container for gas to press upon. And saying it just presses on a vacuum isn't conducive with actually having gas pressure.
Well,
Wow, is that
gas can press at everything. Like if I take my hand and hold it in the middle of the room, my hand experiences gas pressure. Obviously, the walls of the room experience gas pressure too. But obviously, gas pressure is you only feel gas pressure when it presses on solid matter, as your hand, for example. But anyway,
No,
I gotta go. I'm gonna science.
That's dancing past the initial gas pressure and where it comes from. So it comes from the collisions of the walls of the container. That's where you get gas pressure from. Without the container, there can be no pressure.
Anyway, I'm gonna search for the citation you asked me before, and I'm hopefully gonna present it tomorrow or one day later. If I cannot, I'm gonna concede that I was wrong on the point where you asked me for the citation. So anyway, gotta go. But nice conversation. Thank you. Bye.
No worries. Anytime. Pleasure as always.
Take care, Cinder.
Hey, physics.
Hi, Nathan.
There won't be another live show today, but there might be an extended after show depending on how chatty you lot are.
Hello?
Yay! Hello,
Yes.
everyone.
I can tell you're really excited about it. Well, Owen is.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi.
Why is it, Nathan, when you answer the question, they don't accept your answer and they keep going and commenting from some point of their cognitive dissonance? What's causing that?
Some belief that there's a citation to back their fundamentalist belief somewhere in the future. So they make a claim with absolutely no support for their claim. And then, as you noticed with Zinder, as he exited, he said, I might come back with some support for my claim next time. Oh, wow. Thank you. That's amazing. Not just a baseless assertion. Amazing. Yeah, I doubt we'll ever see anything more than a baseless assertion.
It would seem like if someone was watching the show for a while, they'd get it. And then second, they would watch how we take apart their claims to move on to the next point. And they don't even learn from that. All they got to do is prove you wrong. And they won't even go there.
But they still want a chance to present their counter story.
Well, they
That's what they
can,
do.
but they have to prove the first part wrong before they can move on. They got to be.
I know. Well, that's what a sensible person would do. But they really just want to put out their story. And if it wouldn't take too long, then we might just let them do it and then confront them with the point. And then
Well,
they'll
let
be
me-
at a
let me-
blank. But if you do that with somebody like Rumpus, they're literally going to take like 30, 40 minutes.
Right, but let's look at what Ranty talked about with the so-called astronaut in space with the 2 millimeter space junk that put a hole in the ISS. So he put his finger in it, and then while they're trying to figure it out, how to keep the oxygen from running out for 18 days, they had to find some duct tape. So, oh my gosh, the drama. And here comes Nathan saying there's no such thing as outer space, so that whole story is fake. Yeah, but look, they got pictures and astronaut fingers and duct tape. I was like,
But they're not exactly in a vacuum anyway. You know, they're just in lower gas pressure. They're not beyond the moon, right? So they are basically in gas pressure, just lower.
look, if I have a pin-sized hole in my tire at ground level, it takes a little while for that air to come out because it's not 10 to the minus 17 torr. You put that tire in so-called 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum outer space, it can take a little while.
Yeah, but to be fair, I don't think that claim is even official anymore. It hasn't
What
been
claim?
specifically countered.
What
It's
claim?
like the old print, and now they're moving gradually to a newer model
What
with
claim?
different data.
What
So it
claim?
doesn't work anymore, really.
He's talking
What
about the
claim?
Tor values being changed back in, I don't know, 2005, but never actually surfacing. And then in the last 12 months, they've actually brought that to like the forefront of the rhetoric. So they've changed the Tor values, pushed them out a little bit further. It makes absolutely no difference. It's an open system. So according to their narrative, it doesn't matter how far you push the Tor values out, unless Earth is the arbiter of all gas in the entire bullshit narrative of the solar system. Well, no, obviously there's a point where there's gas pressure next to a vacuum.
Well, maybe not.
Wait a minute.
I've said so. The outer gas universe, and it's.
Hang on.
The only joke about it is this presupposition of a bunch of globes, basically. But other than that, I really don't think it's that unviable.
Well,
just a lot of gas out there.
Well, that's not their claim. So again,
I know it's not, but they claim a lot of things that they even change midway. So
sure, but I'm saying that without speculating about what the sky might be, because we don't know, they claim it's a vacuum. Simple. That's the end of that conversation. It violates natural law. So any claim from that medium is automatically fake.
So basically, Nathan, what you're saying that they changed is 10 to the minus 17 torr has been moved away from the Earth a bit so that it's not 10 to the minus 17 torr when our atmosphere meets the vacuum of 10 to the minus 17 torr. Is that what they're trying to say?
No, they've just pushed out the gradient to a higher altitude, if you will. So no, they've just pushed out the torr values. So 10 to the minus 17 torr is always going to be the value that they attribute to their claim of an outer space sky vacuum. That's not going to change. But where the gradient changes its density, that's what they've changed. The torr value's moving up towards the vacuum. They've just pushed them out a bit further. Hence, you now have people claiming that the Earth and Moon are in the same atmosphere system. That's the claim now. Previously it wasn't, now it is. So what Arwen's saying is based on that rhetoric, they're not even in outer space on the ISS. Well, yeah,
Yes,
they can claim that based on the manipulation of the torr values. It doesn't make any difference to the overall system structure. An open system next to a vacuum, violating a law of nature. Entropy would take hold, therefore the entire system is fake. They can't get around it. Doesn't matter how far out they push the torr values.
Yeah.
Well,
unless it just turned out to be their gamble for what it was supposed to be. Speculated about it a lot, made a lot of science fiction as if reality via NASA, and now they might actually sort of come to the conclusion, wait, it's not a vacuum after all, it's an outer gas universe.
Whatever, they can make up whatever narrative. Like I say, you can make up any story you like about how Narnia works. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any difference.
Well,
Stories.
this is my point exactly. Eventually, the atmosphere meets that 10 to the minus 17 torr as you have put. It's amazing how this channel, Nathan Oakley debate channel, caused them to move the 10 to the minus 17 torr out there.
No, that happened well before Flat Earth was even on the scene, but they just made it more prevalent. They just brought the information to the forefront. They didn't actually produce the information recently. It was produced early 2000s, I believe, or might have even been earlier than that. It might have been back in the 90s. I can't remember the exact date. I'd have to look it up. But that change just wasn't brought to the forefront until recently. But the information, if you look at the date of the actual information when it was published, it's quite some time ago. You know, in excess of 10 years.
Yeah, but if that came out that early, which I don't doubt, then why is it just recently they showed that picture of the moon and Earth's atmosphere just recently? So their own community is now catching on?
I can't give you the answer to that. The motivation is something I will never be able to give you. But what I can tell you is it makes no difference to our argument.
Well, it could be due to the science fiction movie community, that basically they didn't want to let go of the vacuum. It was too much of a good factor for movie making. So they said, no, it's going to be a vacuum, just don't mention it. But maybe now with advanced CGI and a lot more people getting on the bandwagon with all of this, they may be able to just alter it and adapt it to an outer gas universe.
Can you imagine that meeting? You've got the guy from Hollywood and you've got the guy from NASA, and the guy from NASA's going, look, man, we just need to abandon the vacuum. It just doesn't work. And the guy from Hollywood going, look, man, Guardians of the Galaxy has already been filmed. It cost $100 million. We can't change it.
Yes, exactly. I'm serious.
Oh my gosh.
It's business.
That's great.
It's dream business.
Yeah, they're both the same. There's no distinction for me between science fiction and pseudo-science space. You know, the two are exactly the same. There's no difference.
Yeah, but Hollywood does a better job. You don't see the wires on the astronauts on the Hollywood movies.
But it all takes place in the same medium, so the subtle differences between spacecraft means nothing, right? They're both taking place in the same medium. The same. It's like saying, well, what's the difference between The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and the Chronicles of Narnia? Oh, well, they're very different stories. Well, they both take place in Narnia, don't they? So it doesn't really make much difference to how the plot differs. They're both taking place in this conceptual medium of outer space, a vacuum, with planets, presupposed sphere lights that we just call lights in the sky, they call physical bodies that you can travel to. Well, the concept, the overriding concept in both science fiction and NASA storytelling is identical. There is no difference between the two narratives at all.
Did you know, though, that there are storytelling mediums that use outer space, but not as a vacuum? There's been actual cartoons made with that. And I always thought they were extremely fascinating, where you basically travel through the galaxy on a ship, just open, and very persistently.
That's just lazy animators. They didn't want to do the wizard
No,
suits.
it was awesome. And the worlds and the realms that they came across were flat in the middle of this outer gas universe. It's just, and planets as well, but mostly just, it's early 80s cartoon, Ulysses, maybe you've seen it. And there's others that follow similar format. It's pretty old, but I always thought that was extremely fascinating. Like, yeah, they really don't have a vacuum. It really doesn't matter that much. Sometimes they wear helmets, but it's not prevalent. I don't know. I thought it was fascinating.
Well, they have to bring in with the SpaceX and all these different so-called independent companies that we find out later have to get permission from NASA anyway, so they're not so independent. And yet NASA on a $53 or so million a day budget is now subcontracting out to these rockets that work better than theirs supposedly. So why is their budget going up when they're subcontracting it to somebody else that could do it cheaper? The whole thing doesn't make sense.
It's one big massive scam. They're claiming to go to Narnia.
Yeah, and because that's falling apart, they got to get independent companies to verify that, we're not lying. We are going to Narnia. Look, SpaceX, look, this, that, and all these different countries. And so
Right.
It must be real.
No, but there's still a way to fix it, though. But it is kind of convoluted. I'm playing such a devil's advocate right now, but as I said, by basically fixing the holes within the physics aspect of the globe model, they could just say, oh, wait, we just thought it was a vacuum. But we weren't, it might have been a pre-conclusion. It may be just slightly lower gas pressure after all, and it all worked out differently.
What
They
y'all
gotta get-
mean you
but they gotta
thought it was
peg
a
it all.
vacuum? They
But they gotta
supposedly
peg it
went
all.
there 6 times and back.
Hold on.
I don't buy the we thought it was a vacuum. Please, man. Come on.
Earth-shaped
No, why not?
investigator. Did you want to say something?
Well, how many people actually died in a vacuum in outer space? Nobody. Rocket
How many people actually went to the vacuum in outer
Guys,
space?
hang out.
Nobody.
Hold on. Supposedly rockets and shit exploded with astronauts, right? But has anybody ever actually died in the vacuum of space outside of movies? Never.
Has anybody actually been in a vacuum of space outside of movies?
That's
Yeah, there is no vacuum of space. Earth-shaped investigators.
But just on record, nobody. Right? Nobody's
Should I say
died
something,
in the
or-
vacuum of space. On
I'm
record.
trying to open up the airways for the Hangout, for the Discord server, but I just will not let anybody else talk.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
Sorry
sorry.
to take my moment.
Just a quick question, if possible.
Go ahead.
Oh boy, I was.
Yeah, what are they claiming now for the Tor value? So is it something like 10 to the minus 7 Tor to 10 to the minus 17 Tor? Where does it start? Are they saying like the moon or the space station is like 10 to the minus 5 Tor or something? I know it's a bit abstract. I'm just trying to get a handle on what they are going to be claiming now, because you all made a good point that they're going to be pushing the vacuum further out now. So I'm just wondering what.
Well, yeah, I don't know the exact narrative, if that's what you're asking me to repeat the heliocentric rhetoric. It's to green on this new quasi-new, sorry, 10th man, narrative that's come out. But ultimately speaking, it doesn't change our argument, so I haven't concerned myself with it greatly. And you can the main overriding point, if you were on the globe side, would be, how can they change this value? Isn't it set in stone? Well, no, they can make up anything they like about that region. It's a fake region, so they just make up anything they like. And if you need to change something, well, what do you know? We don't need to change it. It's not like we're going to be violating some experimental data that we've got. Far from it. They've just made up a just so story about what the lights in the sky are. They've come up with a whole Hollywood narrative with movies and sets to tell us about what the lights in the sky are, essentially telling us what heaven is. And based on that, you don't have to debunk anything beyond the region being fake. You know, I'm not concerned with anything they claim in terms of their changing of the narrative. I would be deeply concerned if I was a globehead. Why is it changed? Don't you know? Isn't it set in stone?
Yeah, because
it already...
you can change anything.
But yeah, I don't know the exact narrative.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, just wanted to say, yeah, I agree that, you know, they've got this sort of free hand to do whatever they want, and people would just go along believing it. Well, you know, the globe believers will.
Yeah, they just retell the same old stories about the places they claim to be going, getting water off Mars. You know, it gets recycled every now and again. And, you know, they'll just tell the same stories, occasionally change them a little bit if some problem arises with the way the story's being told. But ultimately speaking, none of it's scientifically validated. None of it's validatable by us. So it's just priests and their stories. Wizards in a fake medium.
I wanted to make a comment too in terms of them like changing the narrative into like how how big the vacuum actually stretches out. Like, wouldn't they also have to alter the amounts of galaxies and other like other outer space nonsense? Like, basically that whole thing, they would have to start altering that narrative as well. So there's the vacuum being the size that it is has to do with them presupposing what the age of the universe is and how long it took for it to develop into the size that it is. So
Correct.
like if they're trying to push it back, then they would be more going into that narrative than just them, you know, like, oh well, it stretches out this way. It's like, no, it's so I'm just, is that true, or am I just...
Oh, it will bring in all kinds of complications design-wise. It would be much harder to basically put it all down to some universal explosion like the Big Bang, because then the gas pressure would be measurably getting lower and all that. So it would make everything completely different, and again, bring creationism back closer into scope. And that's when the vampires go...
We're talking about mathematics. It's just mathematics. You know, they just change a few values. It's not complicated. We're talking about a mathematical model. So it's not at all complicated. The fact that your concept that you're given changes based on the way a few numbers have changed in the mathematics is meaningless. We don't live in that model. It's just a mathematical idea that they've changed a few values in. So what? Meaningless.
Right, because they would still have to prove that is the case. Like, they're
It's not
presenting the
meaningless,
model
though.
and then
Yeah, it is just
like
mathematics.
them having that
No.
concept and everything like
No,
that.
but
Oh.
it's not. It's technically
Sorry.
meaningless, but it's not meaningless in the actual fact, because it is going to be the thing that a lot of people are going to be dwelling on.
Yeah,
and
it
if
will change.
creationism is functioning within that thing they're dwelling upon, then they'll be more drawn towards thinking like that, and that's why they don't want it.
Yeah,
They
thinking
want
like
people
that.
to dwell in concepts that avoid God and creationism and all that. That's how they designed it.
That's what I said. So yes, it changes your conceptual idea of what they describe based on a few mathematical changes. And yes, it might span off into all sorts of differing ideas that the congregation now have, because the ideas that have been spun out based on mathematical changes have different connotations when you reify them into your world. But they're just ideas changed
It'll
by
bring
way
a
of
new
mathematics.
renaissance of speculation.
Yeah, based on a model. So a speculation, a renaissance of speculation based on reification.
Of course.
Well, that's terrible.
Well, you got to keep the scientists busy.
Not
So
real scientists.
You're saying Narnia is going to create a Narnia within Narnia.
Yeah, well, they just changed the parameters of Narnia. So, well, how does that affect my life if I believe I live in Narnia? Well, obviously,
You'll be listening to different type of stories on the radio. That's the difference.
Different story about Narnia. Doesn't affect you one iota. The fact that they have a mathematical working Narnia and they change some of the values in that, well, you don't live in Narnia. If they say you live in Narnia, it doesn't mean you do. If they say you live in Narnia and they change some of the parameters of Narnia, it makes no difference. That's why I'm like so nonchalant about this. Who cares? We don't live in that model that they've reified. It's just a reified model. The fact that they've changed the parameters in their reified model, does that affect me? No, not in the slightest. It means nothing, in fact.
Excellent. That's why you don't let them beg the question, because you bring their arguments back to reality, like to the second law of thermodynamics, and say you cannot violate this law. So why are you going with arguments about Narnia?
Exactly. That's why I was so hard on Ranty. I'm like, why are you begging the question for them and talking about space? You're just playing into their hands because they want you to talk about space. What they want us to do is argue about whether or not it's possible for someone to plug a hole in the ISS in space. Now, that in space bit that I said quite quickly is the bit that's the most important bit to their narrative. So they don't want you to argue about that. Oh, no. They'd much prefer you argue about whether or not the ISS is real, or whether or not you can plug a hole in it, or whether or not the hole hit in the first place, or why it looks like an album cover. Just forget about the fact that it's Narnia. Don't worry about that.
Yep.
That's your diamond that you offer from the show that you have produced, is think in reality and prove all things.
Well, they essentially have to, like I said, like they have to prove that all this is the case just using mathematics and using this fake narrative that already exists. That's not proving anything. Like you're just appealing to the mainstream consensus. That's all they're really doing, and and combining the maths and all that. So that's really the problem here. Like when we ask for proof, that's where they get frustrated because they know they really can't prove it, basically.
Like I shared a while back ago, I had a discussion with a person at a party, a gathering, and I asked the question, can you have gas pressure without a container? I didn't start with anything else. I just started with that. And they committed to it and said, no way. Well, then once we started talking about flat earth and everything else, I kept bringing them back to that statement that he agreed to. I said, so why are we talking about this scenario when you've already admitted that you can't have gas pressure without a container? So how could that be real? And it just dumbfounded the person, which I'm telling you, that's a fantastic, that number 7 question is the key for me.
Well, they'll say it's gravity that's containing everything.
Then I'll say the same thing. What is gravity?
And they'll say it's a force. I don't care what anybody says. It's a force.
And then I'll say, no, this is good. And then I'll say, where do I see this in the natural world?
And then what they'll do is pick up an object and then drop it.
And then I'll say, you picked it up and you dropped it.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, what's that acceleration?
What makes you think there's acceleration when you disturbed equilibrium and it's trying to get back to it?
And so I had this discussion yesterday. So what they end up doing is picking it up. They put it in their hand and put they had a lighter, and they're like, it's resting. It's resting on my hand. Now I separate my hands, and then it falls. Right? So they say, what caused that?
Them moving their hand. So it's
That's what I said.
So
That's exactly what I said. But
we're
they're like, no, it's acceleration. There's a force.
There's two problems. All of their astrophysicist priests have already declared they don't know the cause. They've also declared it's not a force. So there's no scientific evidence for it, and there never will have. And when the fundies, who don't listen to Cox and George Musa, say it is a force, they're never going to give you scientific evidence of, well, first they won't give you a phenomena. They're not going to show you mass attracting mass without giving you the example that you've just given, where they come along, take something out of equilibrium and go, why does this go back to equilibrium? Well, what's the problem? It's going back to equilibrium. It started in equilibrium until you came along. There was nothing to measure. And they go, oh no, net force 0. There is a force, it's just cancelled out. You're like, well, that's 0, no net force, nothing to measure. Then you come along and you start measuring the effect of what you did. Well, that's not scientific. There's no evidence. There's no scientific evidence for it. It's just a fundamentalist religious belief. Even if it was true, when John comes up against them saying, oh, gravity is a container, essentially a force pulling the gases down towards the centre of the Earth, presupposed spherical, of course. Well, when they assert that, you go, well, as Arwin pointed out, you're talking about a very weak force, if it's at all real, which it's not. But it's not going to overcome the effect of entropy.
Exactly. But another problem I saw was that they're getting the scientific method part wrong. Their understanding is observation explains everything. So that's it. That's where they stop. So, and they're blaming you and John that that you guys are modifying it and so on. So my thing is, if we all don't get like an understanding of the scientific method, then there's always going to be this debate, and nothing's going to change.
Well, that's up to the people who are, saying that no, the empirical method of science is wrong. Well, they have to come up against 100 citations from actual scientists adhering to the method and progressing humanity with scientific discovery. They have to go up against that. The method is the method. So if they want to say, no, we do something else, yeah, they'll get citations, and they'll get them from the clowns that pretend to be scientists, who say, no, we can just look at something. Let's think of an example. Oh, a star. I look at that star and I say it's a body of mass with convection currents. And why? Well, because I've had a look at it. Because that's what science is. Look and declare. I look and I say it's this. Oh, I've got some stuff that I can base it on. But I don't look. But I only look. I don't touch. I don't experiment. I just declare. And they'll say it's science. So they'll go out, the fundies that we are opposing, and say, look, here's my citation from my priest. My priest says that science is look and declare. And you go, oh, right, well, the method is empirical. That's the point of doing it, to establish cause, empirically. So if you haven't got the empirical method, you haven't got an empirical declaration. You've just got a just so story. And even then they'll say, no, well, that's just because science doesn't actually prove things. Well, yeah, it does. If you do science. If you do pseudo-science declarations, then yeah, you can change them anytime you like and just say, oh, science doesn't prove things. It's open to interpretation. It might change at a later date when our just so story doesn't quite match our requirements. Well, scientific validity doesn't change. Once something's been validated through systematic experimentation, that's it.
Yeah, and
Last
sorry, going back to the pressure thing, they can claim the atmosphere is whatever they want, because it can be 1 atom per whatever, per centimeter square or whatever they claim, and then they can, the global believers will just go along with that and say, look, there's atmosphere now up to the moon, but it's still a amount of pressure, so it's really deceptive, this whole atmosphere going to the moon thing. It's quite shocking. I'm still shocked.
Just a story. They just made it up. Literally. They just literally made it up. And you can, if you're not offering any validity. And that's what they don't adhere to. They don't offer a method that gives you the opportunity to validate a claim. It's just a just so story. They declare it based on something they've looked at, and they might claim to have done something here on the ground, spectroscopy, and then they say, this is our story. It may change at a later date because science doesn't prove things. Meanwhile, people are giving validity to assumed causes that they vary and manipulate and record a measured effect, thus giving validity to their assumed cause, or failing and giving validity to their null. It did not cause the effect. You know, that's what the method's for. Empirical results. Well, these people don't do that method because apparently that's not needed. You can just look and declare.
Well, a good contrast with that is how we in the flat earth community look at the same thing as they do, and they come up with, look and declare, and we say, but the second law says this. So we actually cite natural law to back up what we observe, and they don't and can't cite anything.
Yeah, they normally
what they observe.
They project onto us like Dawn did. Oh, you just pick and choose. It's like, well, no, that's what you're doing. You just pick and choose to defy a natural law here and there because your belief requires you to.
Right. So if Don would come on the show and say, here is an answer to why what I'm saying does not violate the second law, we'd be all ears.
But if he did violate the second law, it wouldn't be a law anymore.
That's what I'm saying. He would have to come with content, which they never come with content because it violates the very law that they're trying to say does exist, but it has no bearing here because I want it to be this.
Yeah, I choose to believe that law doesn't apply to my fundamentalist religious sky vacuum belief. So outer space is real because it doesn't necessarily apply when we're talking about the sky vacuum. That's their best argument.
Yes, it is. And notice they're the ones backpedaling by stretching out the vacuum of space and 10 to the minus 17 torr, but the law never backtracks.
Oh, there's actually something I wanted to address in regards to the gravity narrative. And when they say that, okay, when you pick up something and you drop it, and like they ask what's causing the acceleration, what I don't understand is why they instantly remove themselves from that example. Like if you're picking it up and you're dropping it, that's you still, like, you're still having an effect on that object because it's falling out of your hands from a certain height, from a certain position. You're still but they remove themselves from that narrative and say something else is doing that. And it's like, I just don't get that. I really don't. They still think that they have no influence just because they're letting it go. And it's like, if you are releasing that object and it's pushing itself on the medium that it's in, is going to cause a certain type of effect. Hence why it hits the ground the way that it does. So you're taking it out of that position and then letting it go. That's still you having an influence in that object. But it doesn't mean that there's some other field or some other outside force causing that to happen. You can easily narrow down what's making that happen without inserting some type of force. So I don't understand why they have to keep adding that on. It doesn't make any sense.
It's because
they're
they have
saying
a
that
religious
the effect is gravity.
They have a religious belief in a downward constant force, where in reality we observe equilibrium, unless there's a very good reason for it not to be in equilibrium. And typically when they make their example, it's easier to just make the example and remove themselves when they get to the point of disequilibrium, to then start asking questions about why disequilibrium causes downward force, but obviously only under the circumstances where you have a more dense item than the medium they're going to drop it through, while simultaneously ignoring the very cause of that effect, them.
Right, exactly. It's just they pick and choose which things to pay attention to, then they can eliminate certain aspects of that example
Yeah.
in order to add gravity to it.
But the way you get around that is very simple. You said it right at the end of your statement. What causes that to occur? The moment they invoke cause, you can ask them for their scientific evidence. Because once they invoke a cause to add validity to their claim, or just so story as the case may be, then they can validate it with a method that adjudicates cause and effect relationships. So as soon as they say, well, the cause of whatever it is they're claiming, then picking up a rock and dropping it, then you can say, oh, right, cause, you say, got a method for that. Excellent. You're saying it's a natural phenomena, this non-force force that gives rise to a force that's not a force. Great. Let's vary and manipulate that which you presume causes that effect. And let's see how we get on. What's that you say we can't manipulate? This conceptual medium bending. What a shock. Not scientifically validated. Purely a conceptual medium. The fourth dimension, the bending of it, bollocks. You show me that.
Yeah, how do you bend time?
I think it's part of that programming because we were all taught as kids things fall because of gravity. They don't tell you things fall because you're actually dropping them. They always focus on things are falling down because of this force. So it's just part of the programming.
If you change
Right,
the
exactly.
word acceleration in the context in which they're talking to equilibrium, then you can say what accelerated the object to go up 6 feet from the ground where it was equilibrium state. Well, I picked it up. Oh, so then you are the acceleration upward. So you caused this equilibrium by picking it up. Then when you let go, it's looking to go find equilibrium, but you call that acceleration. But you forget you accelerated it up.
Yeah, same in the other direction. So why is the ball hurtling up through the water? Well, hold on a second. What about all the thrashing of you trying desperately to force it into disequilibrium? So once you're there, holding your breath, you bubbled, go, no, start counting. We need to figure out why. It's like, no, you dragged it to the bottom of the pool, didn't you? Great effort to do so. And from there, they'll normally move on to, well, why does the apple fall? Well, what do you mean? Where's this apple falling? Well, off the tree that grew first. Well, there's your answer.
So simple.
No, they imagine there's falling apples.
It's funny, like they had to invent a conceptual medium in order to try to ignore and eliminate the real medium that we experience and like in reality, like of the fact that we have air friction and water and all that. Like they had to invent something that's not real in order to discredit the actual medium that does affect our area and the objects around us. Like it's ridiculous.
They've relabeled equilibrium as downward constant force.
Yes. And that's the only thing that makes sense. That's the thing that you can actually prove. But you can't prove that there is some type of field or something. You can't do that. But they keep latching on to it. They keep like attaching it. Well, they're like
the only reason they have downward constant force is because you got to be a ball spinning in space with oceans stuck to it.
Right. So they can't let it go.
No, they can't let go.
You know, and it's the presupposition. If you let go of the presupposition that we live on a sphere with no evidence of curvature, then you won't need gravity in the first place.
Try telling
That's
that
one
to
thing
the
that I
flat
always
earthers.
point out as well.
Try telling that to some flat earthers who simultaneously want to hang on to the idea that there's a downward force on a flat earth, when there's no necessity whatsoever to have any such force. Or is there any measurable force that exists in the downward direction? Even our opponents say there is no force, and when we come to look at equilibrium, they say zero net force. So our presupposition of a force that isn't a force, measuring at zero, it just, none of it makes any sense. But yet we've got flat earthers that say, oh yeah, there's still a force. Well, why? Why, when our opponents who need this force and deny there is one, do we who do not need one claim there is one. It makes no sense whatsoever to me.
Because they want to sell gravimeters for a profit on Amazon.
Maybe.
It's why they invented the word mass. Mass has nothing to do with anything except for gravity. That's why it's so hard to define, because everything has a word already. Matter, inertia, but they need mass to connect to gravity. So they make it a conglomeration of all three of them.
Really?
Mass, matter, mole, inertia. You have matter, you have mole, you have matter, which is the word for just stuff. Then you have inertia, which is the word for how much energy it takes that stuff to move, or the resistance against it moving, however you want to look at it. And then you have the mole, which is the specific number of matter. Okay, so that's everything. There's nothing left.
And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who have tuned in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. If you need to keep yourself occupied after this premiering stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. A massive thank you to the Discord and Hangouts on Air panel for making this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!